Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek explores the idea that the most effective leaders are those who prioritize the well-being of their team members above their own interests. Simon Sinek, a renowned author and motivational speaker, is best known for his previous book Start With Why, which focuses on the importance of purpose in leadership and business. With Leaders Eat Last, Sinek expands upon this theme by diving deeper into the dynamics of leadership within organizations, highlighting the importance of creating a culture of trust and safety. The central premise of the book is that great leaders, like great parents or military commanders, create environments where their team feels secure, valued, and supported. Sinek introduces the concept of the circle of safety, where employees are shielded from external dangers and internal conflicts, allowing them to focus on collaboration and innovation. In such environments, people feel more inclined to contribute their best efforts because they trust that their leader has their back. Sinek draws upon real-world examples from organizations and military structures to demonstrate how leaders who put their teams first build loyalty, cooperation, and resilience. The title itself, Leaders Eat Last, is drawn from the practice within the U.S. Marine Corps, where leaders traditionally eat after their soldiers, symbolizing the leader's responsibility to ensure their team's needs are met before their own. This book challenges conventional notions of leadership that are often driven by power, control, and short-term results. Instead, Sinek advocates for servant leadership where empathy, trust, and long-term success are prioritized. By creating a strong sense of community within organizations, leaders can foster environments where employees thrive and organizations grow sustainably. Before we dive into the details, I recommend subscribing to the channel for more book summaries like this one. If you find this summary helpful, don't forget to like and share it with someone who would enjoy it too. If there's another book you'd like me to summarize, feel free to mention it in the comments. One of the most profound and central ideas in Leaders Eat Last is the circle of safety. Sinek introduces this concept early in the book as the key to understanding how great leadership functions in practice. The circle of safety is the metaphorical boundary that a leader creates within an organization, where employees feel protected from external threats and internal competition. Within this circle, team members are free to focus on collaboration, creativity, and productivity without fear of being undermined or attacked. The circle of safety is not simply about shielding employees from the competition or market forces outside the organization. It also addresses the internal dynamics within a company. Sinek argues that organizations where employees are pitted against one another, encouraged to outdo their colleagues, or constantly fear losing their jobs are toxic environments. Such companies fail to foster collaboration and trust because employees are always looking over their shoulders, worried about their survival in the workplace. When a leader creates a circle of safety, they foster an environment where employees feel secure in their roles. They know that their leader has their back and that they can rely on their colleagues to support them. In this kind of atmosphere, people are more willing to take risks, share ideas, and innovate because they don't fear failure. Mistakes are seen as opportunities for growth rather than reasons for punishment. Sinek provides numerous examples of companies that have successfully implemented this concept. One such example is Barry Wehmiller, a manufacturing company led by CEO Bob Chapman. Chapman's leadership approach is rooted in caring for his employees as if they were family members. By putting the well-being of his employees first, Chapman has created a culture of loyalty where employees feel safe and valued. This in turn has led to increased productivity, higher employee retention rates, and a more positive work environment. In contrast, Sinek points to organizations that fail to establish a circle of safety, where employees are in constant fear of being laid off or replaced. In these environments, people are less likely to collaborate, innovation stagnates, and the company's overall performance suffers. Sinek emphasizes that creating a circle of safety is not just a nice thing to do, it is essential for long-term success. For leaders, establishing this sense of safety requires consistent actions that demonstrate a commitment to their team's well-being. This might include transparent communication, a willingness to listen to employee concerns, and a leadership style that emphasizes trust rather than control. Leaders who create a circle of safety send a clear message to their employees. We are in this together, and I will protect you from harm. This kind of leadership fosters a culture where employees feel empowered to contribute their best work. A unique aspect of Leaders Eat Last is Sinek's focus on the biological mechanisms that drive human behavior, particularly in the context of leadership. He explores how different chemicals produced in the brain influence our actions and how understanding these chemicals can help leaders create healthier, more productive work environments. Sinek identifies 4 key chemicals that play a significant role in shaping human behavior: endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Each of these chemicals serves a specific purpose and affects how we interact with others, how we approach challenges, and how we lead. Endorphins are produced in response to physical exertion and pain. Their primary function is to mask discomfort, allowing us to push through challenging tasks. In the workplace, endorphins help employees endure stressful situations or long hours of work without feeling overwhelmed by physical fatigue. While endorphins are important for individual performance, they are not directly tied to leadership or team dynamics. Dopamine is often referred to as the achievement chemical because it is released when we accomplish goals or complete tasks. Dopamine drives us to strive for success and seek rewards. In the business world, dopamine is the chemical that motivates employees to hit targets, meet deadlines, and pursue promotions. However, while dopamine can be a powerful motivator, Sinek warns that an overemphasis on individual achievement can be detrimental to team dynamics. Leaders who rely too heavily on rewards, bonuses, or competition to drive performance may inadvertently encourage selfish behavior where employees prioritize their own success over the well-being of the team. Serotonin plays a crucial role in fostering trust and loyalty within teams. This chemical is often associated with feelings of pride and status and is released when we feel valued and respected by others. When leaders recognize and appreciate their team members, serotonin levels increase, which strengthens bonds and fosters a sense of belonging. In organizations where employees feel respected and acknowledged for their contributions, serotonin helps build a culture of trust and loyalty. Leaders who understand the importance of serotonin in leadership will prioritize recognition, appreciation, and respect within their teams. Oxytocin, often called the love hormone, is released during moments of connection and trust. It is the chemical that strengthens relationships and builds empathy between individuals. In the context of leadership, oxytocin is critical for creating a sense of trust and emotional safety within teams. Leaders who focus on building strong relationships with their employees, fostering open communication, and demonstrating empathy will create environments where oxytocin thrives. This, in turn, leads to greater collaboration, stronger teamwork, and a more positive organizational culture. Sinek also highlights the role of cortisol, the stress hormone, which is released during moments of fear or anxiety. While cortisol is essential for survival in dangerous situations, prolonged exposure to stress and fear in the workplace can be damaging. High levels of cortisol inhibit the production of oxytocin and serotonin, leading to a breakdown of trust and collaboration. In toxic work environments where employees are constantly stressed or fearful, cortisol can lead to disengagement, burnout, and high turnover rates. By understanding the role of these chemicals, leaders can create environments that promote the release of serotonin and oxytocin while minimizing the negative impact of cortisol. This involves fostering a culture of recognition, trust, and empathy, rather than relying on fear-based tactics or excessive competition. When leaders focus on building strong, supportive relationships with their employees, they create a positive feedback loop where serotonin and oxytocin reinforce collaboration, loyalty, and long-term success. One of the key themes in Leaders Eat Last is the idea of leadership as service. Sinek emphasizes that the most effective leaders are those who view their role as serving their employees rather than seeking power or personal gain. The title of the book itself, Leaders Eat Last, is drawn from a tradition in the U.S. Marine Corps where leaders wait until their soldiers have eaten before they take their own meal. This practice symbolizes the leader's responsibility to put the needs of their team first. Sinek argues that servant leadership is essential for building trust, loyalty, and long-term success. Leaders who prioritize their own needs or focus on accumulating power and status will ultimately lose the respect and loyalty of their team. In contrast, leaders who put the well-being of their employees first create a culture where people feel valued and supported. This, in turn, leads to higher levels of engagement, productivity, and innovation. One of the most compelling examples of servant leadership in Leaders Eat Last is the story of Lieutenant General George Flynn, a senior officer in the U.S. Marine Corps. Flynn exemplified the practice of putting his team's needs before his own by consistently eating last, ensuring that his soldiers were taken care of before he met his own needs. This simple act of service built immense trust and loyalty among his team, reinforcing the idea that great leaders are those who serve their people, not those who demand to be served. Sinek contrasts servant leadership with more traditional, hierarchical approaches to leadership, where leaders at the top of the organization wield power and authority over their subordinates. In such environments, employees are often treated as expendable resources rather than valued contributors. This kind of leadership fosters resentment, disengagement, and high turnover rates. Leaders who prioritize their own success at the expense of their employees may achieve short-term gains, but they will struggle to build sustainable long-term success. In servant leadership, the focus is on empowering employees to reach their full potential. Servant leaders provide the resources, support, and guidance their teams need to succeed, but they do so without micromanaging or controlling their employees. Instead of focusing on their own achievements, servant leaders measure their success by the success of their team. They take pride in seeing their employees grow, develop, and contribute to the organization's success. Sinek also emphasizes that servant leadership requires a deep sense of empathy. Leaders must be able to put themselves in their employees' shoes, understand their challenges, and respond to their needs with compassion and understanding. This kind of empathy is not a sign of weakness, but a key strength in leadership. Empathetic leaders build stronger relationships with their employees, which leads to greater trust, loyalty, and commitment. Servant leadership is about creating a culture of mutual respect and collaboration. Leaders who serve their employees inspire loyalty and dedication, which in turn leads to higher levels of performance and innovation. By putting their team's needs first, servant leaders create an environment where employees feel safe, valued, and motivated to contribute their best work. Empathy and trust are foundational to the kind of leadership that Simon Sinek advocates for in Leaders Eat Last. He argues that empathy is one of the most important qualities a leader can possess because it allows them to understand and respond to the needs of their team members. Trust, in turn, is built when leaders demonstrate genuine care for their employees and prioritize their well-being. Sinek uses numerous examples throughout the book to illustrate how empathy and trust can transform an organization. One particularly compelling case is that of NextJump, a technology company that has built a culture of trust by fostering empathy and emotional intelligence within its leadership team. NextJump's leadership focuses on understanding the personal and professional challenges their employees face and provides them with the support they need to succeed. This approach has led to high levels of employee engagement, loyalty, and innovation. In contrast, Sinek highlights companies where empathy is lacking and trust is eroded. In these environments, employees feel disconnected from their leaders, and the focus is solely on achieving short-term results. Leaders who fail to demonstrate empathy may push their employees to work harder and faster, but they will ultimately sacrifice trust and loyalty in the process. Employees in these environments are more likely to burn out, disengage, or leave the company altogether. Empathy in leadership is not just about being kind or understanding on a superficial level. It requires active listening, a willingness to understand the perspectives and concerns of employees, and a commitment to addressing those concerns. Leaders who practice empathy create a culture where employees feel heard, valued, and respected. Trust is built when leaders consistently demonstrate that they have their employees' best interests at heart. This means being transparent, honest, and reliable in all interactions. Leaders who make promises they can't keep or who prioritize their own interests over those of their team will quickly lose trust. On the other hand, Leaders who follow through on their commitments and show that they care about their employees will build lasting trust and loyalty. Sinek emphasizes that trust is the foundation upon which successful organizations are built. When employees trust their leaders, they are more likely to be engaged, motivated, and committed to the organization's success. Trust allows teams to collaborate more effectively, share ideas, and take risks without fear of failure. In organizations where trust is lacking, employees are more likely to be guarded, competitive, and unwilling to collaborate. One of the key ways leaders can build trust is by being vulnerable. Sinek argues that vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. Leaders who are willing to admit their mistakes, ask for help, or acknowledge their limitations demonstrate humility and authenticity. This kind of vulnerability helps to humanize leaders and makes it easier for employees to connect with them on a personal level. In Leaders Eat Last, Sinek introduces the idea of a social contract between leaders and their employees. This social contract is an implicit agreement that outlines the responsibilities and expectations of both parties. Leaders are responsible for creating a safe, supportive, and empowering work environment, while employees are expected to contribute their best work, remain loyal, and collaborate with their colleagues. Sinek argues that when leaders uphold their end of the social contract by prioritizing the well-being of their employees, employees are more likely to honor their side of the agreement. In organizations where leaders create a circle of safety and foster a culture of trust, employees feel valued and supported, which motivates them to give their best effort. This mutual trust and respect form the foundation of a healthy, productive work environment. One of the key aspects of the social contract is the idea that leaders are responsible for protecting their employees from external threats and internal conflicts. Sinek emphasizes that in order for employees to thrive, they must feel safe within the organization. This means that leaders must create a culture where employees are not afraid of losing their jobs, being unfairly criticized, or being undermined by their colleagues. When employees feel safe, they are more likely to take risks, share ideas, and collaborate with others. In addition to providing safety, leaders must also offer support and resources to help their employees succeed. This includes providing training, mentorship, and opportunities for professional development. Leaders who invest in the growth and development of their employees demonstrate a commitment to their long-term success, which fosters loyalty and engagement. Sinek also emphasizes the importance of transparency and honesty in upholding the social contract. Leaders who are open and honest with their employees build trust and credibility. This means being transparent about the company's goals, challenges, and decision-making processes. Employees are more likely to engage fully when they feel included and informed about the direction the organization is heading. Transparency demonstrates respect for employees, acknowledging them as valuable stakeholders in the organization's success. Another crucial element of the social contract is fair treatment. Sinek stresses that leaders must treat employees with fairness and equity, ensuring that recognition, promotions, and rewards are based on merit and contribution rather than favoritism or office politics. Fairness builds trust and helps maintain morale, which is essential for keeping teams motivated and aligned with the organization's goals. The social contract also implies that employees have a responsibility to contribute their best efforts, remain loyal to the organization, and support their colleagues. When employees feel that their leaders are holding up their end of the contract, providing safety, support, and transparency, they are more inclined to honor their commitments. This reciprocal relationship fosters a culture of mutual respect, collaboration, and long-term loyalty. However, when the social contract is broken, whether by leaders failing to prioritize employee well-being or employees not contributing their fair share, the consequences can be detrimental. Employees who feel unsupported, unsafe, or unfairly treated may disengage, become less productive, or even leave the organization. Sinek highlights that in environments where leaders fail to uphold the social contract, trust is eroded, and it becomes increasingly difficult to motivate and retain talent. In contrast, When both leaders and employees uphold their responsibilities, the social contract becomes a powerful framework for fostering trust, loyalty, and shared success. Employees who feel valued and supported are more likely to go above and beyond in their work, helping the organization achieve its goals and thrive in the long term. This dynamic underscores the idea that leadership is not about wielding power or authority, but about creating conditions in which people can do their best work and feel fulfilled. While much of Leaders Eat Last focuses on the positive impact of servant leadership, Sinek also explores the consequences of toxic leadership. Toxic leaders are those who prioritize their own interests, power, and control over the well-being of their employees. They often create environments where fear, competition, and mistrust thrive, leading to disengagement, high turnover, and poor performance. Sinek points to numerous examples of toxic leadership throughout the book, highlighting the negative impact it can have on both individuals and organizations. One such example is the financial crisis of 2008, where the actions of a few powerful leaders in the banking industry led to widespread economic collapse. These leaders were driven by short-term profits and personal gain, with little regard for the long-term consequences of their actions. In organizations led by toxic leaders, employees are often pitted against one another in a constant battle for survival. Leaders may use fear, threats, or manipulation to maintain control, creating a culture where employees are afraid to speak up, take risks, or collaborate with their colleagues. This kind of environment stifles creativity, innovation, and productivity, as employees are more focused on protecting themselves than contributing to the organization's success. Sinek emphasizes that toxic leadership often leads to high levels of stress, burnout, and turnover. Employees in these environments may feel disengaged, undervalued, and unsupported, leading them to seek employment elsewhere. High turnover rates can be costly for organizations, both in terms of financial resources and lost knowledge. In addition, toxic work environments can damage a company's reputation, making it more difficult to attract and retain top talent. One of the key characteristics of toxic leadership is a lack of empathy. Toxic leaders are often more focused on achieving their own goals than understanding the needs of their employees. They may view employees as expendable resources rather than valuable contributors to the organization's success. This lack of empathy can lead to a breakdown of trust, as employees feel that their leaders do not care about their well-being or professional development. Another common trait of toxic leaders is short-term thinking. These leaders are often more concerned with hitting immediate targets or achieving quick wins than with building long-term success. They may prioritize profits or shareholder value over employee satisfaction and well-being, leading to a culture of constant pressure and stress. In contrast, Sinek argues that great leaders take a long-term approach, focusing on creating a sustainable, positive work environment that fosters loyalty, engagement, and innovation. Sinek also discusses the role of cortisol, the stress hormone, in toxic work environments. High levels of stress and fear can lead to an increase in cortisol production, which can have damaging effects on both individuals and organizations. Cortisol inhibits the production of oxytocin and serotonin, the chemicals responsible for fostering trust, collaboration, and well-being. In organizations where employees are constantly stressed or fearful, the lack of oxytocin and serotonin can lead to a breakdown of trust, increased competition, and a decline in overall performance. In Leaders Eat Last, Sinek points out that leadership in the modern world has changed drastically from previous generations. As the business landscape evolves, so too must the approach to leadership. Technological advancements, globalization, and shifting social norms have created a more interconnected, fast-paced, and transparent environment, making it imperative for leaders to adapt their strategies. Modern employees are looking for more than just a paycheck. They seek meaning, purpose, and a sense of belonging in their work. Sinek argues that in the past, leadership was largely about command and control. Leaders sat at the top of hierarchical structures, giving orders and expecting them to be followed without question. Employees were viewed as cogs in the machine, valuable only for the tasks they completed. However, This approach no longer works in today's workplace. The modern employee expects to be treated as a valued member of the team, not as a mere resource. They seek leaders who listen to their concerns, value their input, and create opportunities for them to grow and develop. One of the major changes in modern leadership is the shift towards inclusivity and collaboration. In the past, decisions were often made behind closed doors by a small group of top executives. Today, leaders must involve their teams in the decision-making process. Sinek highlights that modern leaders should foster an open and collaborative culture where employees are encouraged to share their ideas and contribute to the organization's strategic goals. This not only leads to better decision-making, but also increases employee engagement and satisfaction as they feel that their voices are being heard. Another crucial aspect of modern leadership is the focus on purpose-driven leadership. Sinek's earlier work, Start With Why, emphasizes the importance of having a clear sense of purpose at the core of leadership. In today's world, employees are drawn to organizations that have a strong sense of purpose and that strive to make a positive impact on society. Modern leaders must articulate the organization's why, the deeper reason for its existence beyond profits, and align their teams around this purpose. This creates a sense of shared mission, where employees feel that their work has meaning and contributes to something larger than themselves. The digital age has also introduced new challenges and opportunities for leaders. The rise of social media, for instance, has made it easier than ever for employees to connect, share information, and hold organizations accountable. In this hyper-connected world, leaders can no longer operate in isolation or rely on outdated methods of control. Transparency and authenticity are paramount in modern leadership. Employees, customers, and the broader public expect leaders to be open, honest, and ethical in their actions. A failure to live up to these expectations can lead to public backlash and a loss of trust. Sinek also points to the importance of emotional intelligence, EQ, in modern leadership. While technical skills and business acumen remain important, the ability to connect with others on an emotional level is increasingly recognized as a critical leadership skill. Modern leaders must be able to manage their own emotions, empathize with others, and navigate the complexities of interpersonal relationships. Leaders with high emotional intelligence are better equipped to build strong, cohesive teams and to create a positive work environment where employees feel supported and valued. In the modern world, leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room or the one with the most power. It is about creating an environment where others can succeed. Leaders must be adaptable, inclusive, purpose-driven, and emotionally intelligent to meet the challenges of today's fast-changing business landscape. Those who fail to embrace these qualities risk being left behind in a world that increasingly values collaboration, empathy, and trust. In conclusion, Leaders Eat Last challenges leaders to rethink their approach to leadership. By focusing on the collective good, embracing empathy, and creating a culture of safety, leaders can inspire their teams to achieve remarkable things. The book's lessons are not only applicable to business, but to any organization or community seeking to build a strong foundation of trust and cooperation. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in more books like this, subscribe and stay tuned. Let me know which book you'd like me to cover next.